Good afternoon and welcome. For those of you that have not met me before, I'm James and I'm on the training side for Landmark. And joining me, we've got Annabelle.
Everybody.
Annabelle's giving you a little wave there. So Annabelle's on marketing and was on sales, so knows a few of your faces, I'm sure. And then we've also been joined by Helen.
Hello, everyone.
Super, thank you. So Helen, you probably won't have seen before unless you've been off to our website and looking at pictures, but Helen's voice you've probably heard before because Helen helps us very ably on the support things. So any questions, you've got it, don't come to me, send them straight to Helen because hopefully we'll get an answer and I'm sure we'll do really well. We're going to do a bit on, what was it, management reporting. Now there's a subject and a half that they've dropped James in for, but that's no problem because I've got big broad shoulders and it's Thursday afternoon and I'm sure we'll all get along fine. Annabelle and Helen are kindly going to monitor the Zoom for me. We did ask you all when you joined to be muted. That's not because we don't want to hear your lovely voices. It's just so that we try and minimize the feedback, etc., that we get sometimes when we're in these meetings. If you've got any questions, I'm sure you're all in the current climate that we're in, much more familiar than I am with the likes of Zoom and the joys of technology. But there is the chat section. So please, please, please pop your answer in the chat and we'll endeavour to answer them as we go. So it shouldn't be all me the whole time. We've got a couple of polls along the way as well, just to ring the changes, but also get some information from you and see what we want to do. So I think unless there's the team have got anything else, shall we start with the PowerPoint? Did you say there's 500 slides in it, Annabelle, and we go for 2 hours? No,
yeah, I think so. I think everyone's just in the mood for that this afternoon.
Oh dear. Now, whilst we're using PowerPoint or what have you, actually James is a bit skeptical about it because it is, you can all put your screens as blank, go off, walk the dog and come back later and I'm sure all will be fine. If we need to, and again with the chat, if I need to come out of the presentation, that's no problem. If we need to dive into KEYPrime, our accounts package, we'll do so. I am aware though, and we've tried to design this a bit so that it isn't James saying, this is KEYPrime does this is KEYPrime does that. It's to try and get you to all think about management reporting generally. And I know that those of you that are here and the others that haven't yet attended, about 50% of you are KEYPrime users and the others aren't. So I'm not here to particularly ram it down your throats. If I'm using it, it's in a generic way, and I'm talking about generic software and generic accounts. Okay, let me just share my screen and bring up where we're going to start. Let me just move that over there and let's put it behind there. And that's brought that up. The joys of Zoom, it sits behind everything. And okay, can we see that? How are we doing, Annabelle, Helen? Yes?
Yeah, I can see that screen.
Great. So management reporting, helping you to help your clients. And I think that's the thing, is that it doesn't matter whether it's us or our competitors or what have you. A lot of what is in the package is there to be used. And sometimes it's the client asking for it, or sometimes it may be you saying, do you know what, I could do a bit more for this client. I could leave them with that. But actually, I need to understand a bit more. So where do we go to first? Well, just a little introduction about us. So we've been around for, what's that, 34 years or something, if the maths is about right. And we are 50 strong, based in West Sussex, but we are UK wide, from top of Scotland down to the southwest and that. And we've actually got 1 or 2 clients across the water as well. We're also the NFU sole recommended software supplier for accounts and the like, and so that's really good that they've selected us and we're working with them. So just a little bit, we do the 3 versions of our accounts range. So we can do KEYPrime Intro, which is cash accounting, but it also comes with a sales invoicing sales invoicing option. We've got Cashflow and budgeting within that tool as well. In the middle there, we've got our KEYPrime Accounts. So full trial balance, fixed assets with auto depreciation, profit and loss reporting, etc. And then at the top end, we've got KEYPrime Advanced. So electronic banking is included, Excel, imports and exports, custom reporting, stock control, all of that side of things. And then there's a little one just in front of each of those, KEYPrime Nuage. So we do various options of hosting. So you can either have it as a rental, which is KEYPrime Nuage. You can have it hosted on a shared server, so you get exactly the same product that's on a desktop, but it's in the cloud, which is great. So others can either log in, so the accountant, the consultant, all of that side of things, and we do full service for the larger clients. So, today's webinar, why is management reporting important? What do the different reports show? Whole business, enterprise, or an asset? Comparison reporting, the balance sheet, the benefits of budgets. So we're all sort of aware that, there could be some tough decisions. What's happening BPS, planning for that reduction. We've got ELMS coming in. What impact is that going to have to the business? Are we thinking about it? When is it likely to happen? What can you as your business or the client that you're working for do? Possibly we need to do some reporting for grant applications. I'm sure they're going to become more prevalent with the likes of environmental schemes. Diversification. Is it right to do that project? Is it not right to do that project? The banks, they require more and more information on their lending decisions. The days of the bank manager coming out, spending, having a quiet lunch and enjoying that and signing on the bottom line, tend not to happen anymore, or not quite so much. They're after lots more information in order to make those lending decisions. So, having thought about that, and I put this slide up for a particular reason, I asked the team to put it in. And I know it's an old adage, but without monitoring something, how can you manage it? If you don't know what it's doing, you can't make those decisions. So you need to make the informed decisions. You and your clients need to be managing the performance on a regular basis. Oh, we got a poll, folks. Oh, where's that gone, guys? So I'm going to launch a poll just to get you a little bit more interactive, and it's only, I think, 3 questions just to see who's doing what, and it might help us tweak the presentation as it comes along. So I'm going to launch the poll. If you could be so kind as to click on the relevant bits, and we'll then see what feedback we've got from you. So I've just launched that poll. Team, can you help me? Has it come up on your screens?
Yes, it's come up. I can see it.
Oh, lovely. So nobody's voted yet. They're all inwardly digesting the questions.
Am I allowed to vote?
Oh, I'm sure you are.
So I actually can't see the facility to vote. I don't know whether, can everyone else, are you able to vote? Just shake your head if you can't. Yep, you are. Good.
Yeah.
I can't.
Nearly everybody's voted. We're up to 70% and growing rapidly.
Hmm. Very interesting. Seven more to go, is it?
Yeah.
Last 6.
Last 6. Oh, it's like countdown, isn't it? We ought to have that going or something or other.
I was going to do the sound effect, but I'll save everyone that.
I was thinking the same thing.
I really want to now.
Oh dear, I've lost the poll.
Okay.
There we are. We'll probably go with that, shall we?
89% of you, thank you very much.
Well done. So if I end the poll, I can actually share those results with you. So I think you can see them there. So 88% of you currently running management reports, 12% no. Top of the tree was cash flow reports, 72%, profit and loss, 69%, income and expenditure, 60%, by enterprise or department, 63%, reports on properties, large bits of kit, vehicles, etc., 44%, and sales analysis, 21%. And then we'd better find some time because 74% of you would like just a quick run through. I'll just do a couple of the features within KEYPrime Accounts we've released. Okay, great. So hopefully that's stopped that. And we're back to, let's go back one. So that was the poll. So what basic reports can we generate from within most accounts packages? So we're happy we can do a profit and loss. Most can do a profit and loss. We can do income and expenditure, and we can do cash flow. But within that, depending on the package, etc., we may want more information on that, and we may want a better understanding of what some of these reports mean. So let's just go and have a look a little bit further at this. So here is a profit and loss. So what do we mean by a profit and loss? What's that? Well, a profit and loss is invoice-based, sometimes called trading. So it's based on the invoice date when you put your purchase invoice or sales invoice onto the system. So a profit and loss is a measurement in time. You can see there on the report on the right-hand side, we've got a range in time. So it's the performance of that business throughout that period of time. It may be good, a profit, it may be a loss. And farmers always seem to moan that they make too much profit and they don't want to pay the tax and all of that side of things. But that's a completely different thing. So actually, the profit and loss is there. In this case, we've got it grouped so that it's a shutdown report rather than expanded, as we call it, a binomial report. So there we've got profit and loss. As I say, it is monitoring stuff over a period of time. It's the performance of the business. How well is it doing over that period of time? Then we've got income and expenditure. So what's the difference, James? Because it looks very similar. Well, an income and expenditure is invoice based. It is trading based again, but it doesn't have valuation changes and depreciation. So it is monitoring the funds for that business. So we've got a surplus or deficit at that point in time. But it's also got a summary down the bottom of what's going through our balance sheet codes. And this report can be really useful for the likes of bank managers, and consultants really like it because they say, actually, you're telling me that you're making some really good profit this year or what have you, but I can't understand why there isn't any money in the bank account. And that's because down the bottom, we can see what it's potentially been spent on. Has the new tractor arrived? And that's why the money isn't in the account, because although you've said you've had a good year, actually the money has been spent elsewhere. Or has the private expenditure suddenly gone through the roof for whatever reason? We can see that there. So income and expenditure is another way of sometimes describing it is like your cash flow nominals, your cash flow report, but based on an invoice date. The next one we've got is the cash flow. So instead of invoice date, this is the date that you entered it on the system as the payment date or the receipt date. So exactly the same layout as the others. As I said, we've done this by group, and it's showing there a negative or positive cash flow at the bottom and why we've got all the information on here, where it's gone, what it's been spent on, etc., etc. And this one is really important, not just for the bank, etc., but without cash within the business, you then can't pay suppliers, so therefore you can't trade. And sometimes you see these startup companies that have phenomenal sales and then suddenly they go bust. And the reason that they go bust is they're having to buy in the stock, but they're having to wait for the money from all of that growth of sales, and they just haven't got the cash to pay for that stock. So suddenly they look like they're really doing super duper, almost vertical curve for the sales and the profitability of the company, but actually they go bang because the cash flow won't support that. So just in summary, I think did this one to sort of help. So we've got here our three reports, our profit and loss, income and expenditure, and cash flow. And we can see there the transaction date. So just to reiterate, the profit and loss is on invoice date, the income and expenditure is in invoice date, and the cash flow is on the paid date. So let's just reveal. So just a reminder there. So in your P&L, you're going to have sales, less purchases to give you a gross margin. You might then have miscellaneous receipts, or they might be tucked up in your sales as well. We then have our overheads, depreciation. We include our accruals, prepayments, and valuation change to give us that profit or loss at the bottom. Income and expenditure, as we've said, does the same thing, but we don't get depreciation, valuation change, and bank accounts and stock movements on here, but we get everything else. Just remember too, it is on an invoice basis. The last one there is cash flow. So we're saying this is on paid date. So we're going to get our sales, our purchases, overheads, miscellaneous receipts. We're going to get our bank accounts, and we're going to get what we've paid out or receipted in for our balance sheet codes, our current assets, stocks, fixed assets, liabilities, private, etc. So I think hopefully that's a nice summary, shows you the differences that you are going to get on each of the reports. Enterprise reporting. So we happen to call them enterprises. I think one or two of our competitors do. There are one or two other packages, call them departments or whatever. They all mean the same thing. To me, they are the different sectors of the business that you want to monitor. And we put a question there, which are your best? So here we happen to have what we call a comparison report with our enterprises across the top. And we just need to be careful when reporting on here. Up the top there, it says it's trading. So it is a P&L for each enterprise. It is on invoice date, though you can potentially have that or could have that on a cash basis too. So there we've got our report, and we've got our cattle versus our dairy and our rental and our sheep. And on the right-hand side, we've got the grand total that makes up this figure. Now, word of warning here before you all go off and do your enterprise reports, please, please, please just check before you come here on whichever package it might be, that actually have you allocated all the transactions to an enterprise. Because if you haven't, you're going to end up with the figures and the grand totals on the right hand side, which should add up to the company total if you've selected all enterprises, and it won't agree. So before somebody goes off and says, do you know what, look at that sheep bottom line, isn't it fantastic? We'd better go out and buy a few more ewes or do something like that. If all the costs associated haven't been allocated, it may be that the person is monitoring something and making good management decisions on the information that they've been provided. But actually, if that information is inaccurate, then that's not good news. So have we got everything allocated correctly? And is there anything missing from this at all? So not only that, but we might want to be looking at quantities too. So within here, and as I say, this is just an example of one of our reports, I'm sure other packages do them as well, we're looking at quantities. So we can see what our lambs are averaging, what our wool is averaging, and what our culls are averaging. And again, same date range. We're looking at it trading, so we're looking at invoice-based rather than cash-based, but we've got that. You've done all the hard work when you've done your data entry, and now we can quickly and easily pull that out as a report and see what was what and what we did, and away we go. Now, expanding that out a slightly further, it may be, and we said we'd have a brief look at budgets or whatever a bit later on, that we want to take that a stage further. So on this particular report, and I'll just use my mouse as a point, we've put in the fact that we've got 20 head of cattle and 25 head of cattle in our budget. So whilst we've got here our individual enterprise, progress is just our style of report here. So we've got actuals for the month of August against budget. Red news is bad news because we haven't sold as many as we thought, but that could be timing because here we've got our year to dates and we've got our actuals against budget, and black is good news because we've actually achieved more than budget. Now, we've got our total budget on the right-hand side for the 12 months, but we've actually got these two extra columns here. So within the program, by adding information in on here, and it doesn't just have to be head of cattle, it could be litres of milk, it could be that we've got an enterprise for commercial rent, and we've got the number of square feet or square meters, and we want a comparison figure for that. Now, I think you can just about see it at the bottom of my screen. We've got things down here. So in here, we've got our actual and we've got our budget. So our feed purchases here have actually cost us per head £133.50, but we actually budgeted for 105. And our vet and med was £6.61 as opposed to £13. So we can use that information here in terms of budget, yes, but also we might be able to go and look at the Rural Business Survey online. It's free, and it's the sort of place that information is extracted for the likes of John Nix's pocket book and ABC costings and other things like that. So yes, quick and easy on the report, put the divisor in, you can have actual and budget and use your enterprise reports to assist you with benchmarking, either with your consultant or, as I say, independently, you've got other bits of information you can go and compare that to.
I think what it shows is it's just important, if you can, to enter your quantities as much as possible, because it might not be something that 10, 20 years ago people were as concerned about, but now if you've got those quantity figures in there, now that benchmarking is more and more important, you can get a lot of information out of it, and you're not just benchmarking against others, you're benchmarking against how you did in the previous period last year. So a lot to be got out of it.
And I think you're absolutely right, Annabelle. The other thing that I would say and add to that is, don't give up putting the detail in. What do I mean by that? I mean, I'm sure you're all putting good descriptions in on your description. You're putting the enterprise in, you're putting the quantity in. Because when everything's going really well, nobody's too worried about it. But when it's not going so well, that's when to have that information in there so that you can, as I say, monitor it, to manage it. And you think, oh, bother, well, nobody was reading that report 6 months ago, 12 months ago. Well, no, they were perfectly happy, and that's great. 6 months on, the picture's changed a bit, and it's not so good, and that's when they want that information, and then you're not able to deliver that report at the hit of a button. It's not so good. So stick with it, keep going. Put that information in, because at some point in the future it will pay dividends, the fact that you've done it. A second poll. Whoa, what have we got on this one? So I need to launch the poll. This will see how many of them have fallen asleep in the meantime, Annabelle. Okay, so this one's a little bit about what you do and how you do it. So hopefully you can see that. That show up, Annabelle?
I can see the results. Can everybody else see the entry screen? Yep.
I can't see anybody on mine, so there must be able to see something, because all results are coming in.
Yeah.
We had a company day yesterday and we had a quiz at the end, and it was fastest on the keyboard. That made people concentrate quite hard.
Yes, I seem to remember I got a little bit of flack for being quite quick at one point.
Yeah, I learned the shortcut, and I got quicker and quicker, and that did wind Tom and Keith up. The only reason I did it.
That's called cheating.
Right, so one or two more, but we've got 80% in. So how are we doing time-wise? We're not doing too badly. So let me just end the poll, then we've got that, and then you can see all the results, I hope. So top one was yes, you're all budgeting in accounts, yes, using Excel, some using specialist software like our Key Planner. 28%, that's interesting. The consultant does the budget. 21, no, my clients do not budget, but I'd like to learn more. And then, so that's how you budget, either what have you. And then the last bit was actually, do you run the comparison reports in your account software? And 70% of you do, so 30% of you don't. So interesting. Okay. So that's why we might want to be budgeting. So that, again, so we're monitoring. And I think, and it's pleasing to see that 70% of you are using the accounts package to report actuals against budget. Because it's so easy, you've done all the hard work. If you can get that budget into your accounts package, or you actually use your accounts package to budget with, how easy then is it to run your reports? Well, they're going to be there somewhere, depending on which package you're on. Run it. You know, whether it be the monthly report that the bank manager wants, whether it be the quarterly trustees meeting, or whatever it might be, the quarterly family meeting. It's all there, done quickly and easily. So reporting against, here's cash flow. So we're doing it at a company level. And we saw earlier that we can also do it at an enterprise department type level. We can, and it's getting very colorful, but it does try and make it clearer, unless unfortunately you're colorblind, is the fact that there we've also brought in last year as well as the budget. So this is a progress cash flow. Could be a P&L, could be income and expenditure. So here we've just got August as our last month. We've got actuals, budget, and last year. So we can see that our last year's in green and our budget is in blue. We've still got the middle column saying our year-to-date figures, actual, budget, and last year. No problem at all. But because we're on an A4 sheet of paper for this particular report, we can't have the difference. We haven't got enough columns to be able to have the differences for the August. So the differences are for at the year-to-date figures there. So you can see that we've only got a small difference here, but over here we've got our just under 4,000 difference, which is the difference there. So we've got the report, we've got last year's information on here, so we can actually have that in here, pull it straight through, it does it automatically. And here we've got the difference between our budget and our actual, and here we've got our last year difference to actual too. So we can see that not only are we up on budget, but we're also way up on the previous year. And then on the right-hand side here, we've got our total budget for the 12 months starting from the start of this report. So we can see whether we are actually going to hit that figure or not, or if we're in our overheads, are we going to extend ourselves? Are we going to spend more than we budgeted on because we're going to be more than the total of the budget? Another report, and again thinking of budgeting and that side of things, here's a report looking back over previous financial years. And within KEYPrime we can do that, and we can look back to the first year that you entered data for. And this can be really useful, not just for reporting against. So you can see how you've done on this particular year against your previous years. But I think this is a report that often I'll recommend people running when thinking about doing their budgets. The reason being is that whilst your arable or livestock income up here and your purchases might go up and down depending on what you're growing, different crops and that cycle, usually the overheads remain fairly stable, or you can see the trend in your business of them increasing, and you can say, actually, let's go back 5 years because I've got 5 years worth of data. And let's have a look at what that trend is. What are we going to put in for machinery costs? Because it was 25,000 in 18, it was 12,000 there. What have we done? Have we replaced any kit so our costs are going to come down, or haven't we? So we think they're going to go up. It helps you make those management decisions. By pulling out these sorts of management reports, we can make better informed decisions, whether it comes to budgeting or whatever it might be. So that's a really good one there, the multi-year report. As I say, this one just happens to be cash flow, but you could have it on P&L and at enterprise and what we call analysis code level.
I believe that, I shouldn't say it, but I believe that feature is now possible for anyone who's using FarmPlan. I'm sure they announced, I think it was towards the end of last year, that you could do multi-year reporting in there in a similar way to this now. So
okay,
yep.
Super. Well done, thank you. There we go. The balance sheet. So often a lot of muck and mystery over the balance sheet. Well, what's that? And yeah. So the balance sheet is a different report, and it is, as it says there, a snapshot in time. So we've got two columns on our balance sheet. One is opening, so that is what the figures are at the start of the report, and then we've got closing as at the end of the report, and then we've got the change, the movement. Has it gone up or has it gone down? So a balance sheet is about the assets of the business. So here and the liabilities. So it ends up with the net worth of the business. So we've got our fixed assets at the start. We've got our tractors and vehicles. You can see we might have been buying and selling stuff, and we've got the depreciation coming through. We've then got our other assets called current assets. So we've got our crops, our stores, our stock, whatever you want to call them. So we've got our crops, we've got valuation, consumables, your sprays, fertilizers, etc. We might have a few shares in the local cooperative or whatever it might be. In this particular case, we've got the freehold down here rather than fixed assets. Again, it just depends how it's presented. We've got debtors and prepayments and our petty cash and back control account. So we end up with our assets, and then we take off our liabilities, the amount of money that we owe to different people. So because our bank account is overdrawn, that's why it will sit down here. We might have mortgages, hire purchases, deposits, because they are normally, and if they're sat here, they're refundable. So although you might have the money, it is due to be repaid back. We then have creditors, accruals, and purchases on account to give a total of having taken from our total assets our liabilities to give us a net assets. And then down the bottom, we have the capital in the business. This is a partnership. So we've got 3 partners here, and this is their net worth in the business. And because we've got a balance sheet for a date range, we would then have the profit here, there as well, to then give the new net worth at the end. So a balance sheet is a snapshot in time at the start and at the end. It isn't always a true picture, but it is usually a good picture. For example, if the farm was bought in the 1970s or something or other for a few £100,000, it may still be listed there, even though today it could be worth several million. So sometimes revaluations happen to get the balance sheet to happen to be right, so that when presented in front of the bank manager, he's happy that his loan or mortgage current account being overdrawn, it'll be paid back because the assets far exceed the liabilities in the ratio that he's looking for. Budgets. I like this lot, team. We're not getting many questions on the chat. It's marvelous. Either that or you've switched it. That's probably
Maybe there'll be an onslaught at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, put you on your toes.
Budgets. To me, that top thing on the left-hand side, it is a thought process of what is happening to the business. You don't have to have a budget. Most packages, you have the ability to report against last year. But it also allows us to think about what if scenarios, could be price or tonnage changes, could be, do I do this enterprise or don't I do this enterprise? So, as I say, it is thought-provoking. It's not just we're in the office, we need to think about what's going on outside the four walls of the office, and how is that going to impact what budget we're doing. We've got a screenshot there of a part of the budgeting within KEYPrime, so we can think of it at a nominal level at the top. We can have enterprises, and in our case we call analysis codes bits of kit, property, because you're refurbishing a cottage or things like that. So we can budget on those sorts of things as well. And within the program, we have the ability to budget on trading, so on invoice date. So here we can have quantity and price, and it will work out the amount. And we can link it to our cash flow. So we can actually set it to that actually we're going to have it in 1 month, sell it in January, and we will receive the money a month later in February. So all of that is doable, and we can have notes. But we can also budget within Excel, and a lot of the consultants, because I noticed on the poll that quite a few are doing that, they're probably going to give you that budget within Excel. So nothing to stop you. Again, most packages have got it, the fact that you can import that budget, and so you're not having to throw the figures out of the accounts package and go and oh crikey, the order's not quite right as per the consultant or what have you. I've now got a few hours work and he's coming in 5 minutes and I've forgotten to do it. If you get your budget into your accounts package, it's usually pretty easy at a few clicks of a button just to go and report those actuals against budget. And the last one, which sort of jumped around a bit, but in the middle, there are other packages. We do a budgeting tool called KeyPlanner, which thinks about the gross margins. It'll do the P&L, it'll do a balance sheet, but it will also, most importantly, because that's the reason that most people do it, it'll do a cash flow, and you can then throw that out into Excel, and you can then import it into the accounts. So coming back a stage there, we've discussed earlier budgets against forecasting. So similar sort of layout of report, but another option, and this one is, James puts a health warning on this one. Please, please, please do not go and do a forecast, what we call a projected report, without just looking at the figures before you go and give it to somebody. What do I mean by this? Where's the difference on this report? Well, over on the right-hand side, we've got a projected total. So it's taking our actuals against budget and difference. We've seen that. We've got our year-to-date actual budget and difference, and we've got our total budget still. What this projected is doing is saying, okay, we budgeted up to July. Actuals up to July. Let's take the actuals from August to the end of this 12-month period and add them onto the actuals and see what is happening. So that is our projected, our forecasted figure. What we just need to be mindful of is timings, and that's why we will always print the total budget on the right-hand side, because if you had something come in early like this, then depending on this figure could be massively more than your total budget or less. So you just need to think about that. And there are other reports that we can do. So you could look at this monthly, and it may be that you, with your budget, you need to say, actually, we're 6 months through, we need to do a revision. So you could copy your existing budget, copy the actuals into that budget, throw it out to Excel if that's your preferred option, or and tweak the figures, or if you're in your accounts package, tweak the figures within the accounts package, bring it in, and then you've got a revised figure, and that projected total is going to look much more sensible, because it's always somebody will go, oh crikey, they're coming in 5 minutes, I need to produce that report, and then it looks, you look not so good when they go, well, why is that double what it should be? Think about your BPS coming in December and you budgeted it in January, or vice versa, depending on the timing and your actuals. You could have twice the amount in your projected if you were running it, and you said, well, I budgeted it in January, let's run the report to the end of December, and it came in December, your projected total will be double. If it was the other way around, you'd have 0 in it. So just a word of caution. So this is the sort of report that you could be running, taking a look at your projected on a month-by-month basis and saying, there are my actuals in black. There is my projection. There's my budget for August to December. So that's giving me my projected total and my budgeted total. So that's where you might want to run some report like this. Again, profit and loss, cash flow, doesn't matter which way around, we've got options for all, but actually saying, I need to revise this, or I need to highlight to somebody the fact that whilst the projected sales look actually fantastic, we actually had the money in or sold stuff a month or 2 ahead of when we said we would. Might be easier to show figures as a graph. So again, here's one from KEYPrime, from our Smart View graphing tool, of actually saying, actually the bank manager, look, here we are, here's our actual figure here, here's our overdraft limit that we put in the accounts, and here's our budget, and aren't we fine fellows because we stayed within the overdraft limit. We talked to you about the first month of the year, and it's just showing those figures. Sometimes people click with the colors, some people have number blindness, and a graph is a much better way of doing stuff. So which reports will help your client? Well, that's a very good question, leading question. You'll know your clients and which are best and where you want to go. But hopefully that's shown you quite a few options available within most accounts packages in order to generate those reports for you. One last thing that I'm going to leave you on the report is favorites. Quite a lot of them, packages, us included, have a favorite section, and for our advanced users, we have a report book. So rather than you having to go, God, you know what, I got it just right last month, that was a superb cash flow report that I did, but I cannot find those options again. You can shove it into favorites so that you can reproduce it every month. We can do report books, as I said, for advanced, so that actually you've got the management report every meeting, every month, or it could be the trustees meeting every quarter, or the accountant's pack at the year end. So either with favorites or report book, shove your reports into this section. It also, you might just let the boss have access to his accounts on a read only, or the consultant, because you don't want them going and changing transactions and affecting the VAT and the bank and all those sorts of things. But actually, you don't want to be bothered at 8 o'clock in the evening because somebody's forgotten that the bank manager's coming at 8 o'clock the following morning, and that phone call of where are the reports. Set them up as a read only person, tell them about favorites. There are the reports. Quick, easy, away you go. Well, that wasn't 500 slides, Annabelle.
Not quite, no. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to type them in if you do. It's all very quiet so far, James.
I know. Onslaught of key, I can hear the suspense and all the keyboards going rapidly as the questions are all going to fly in. How do you produce the graphs? Great question. I'll show you that one in a minute, if I might, Gemma. Because one or two people said, actually, do you know what? We'd like to have a look, and we offered for the last 10 minutes of this session, was that progress only, that we'd have a look at KEYPrime and show you some of the new features and that sort of thing. So I think if we're not careful, we will run out of time. So I think we'll answer some of the questions that have come up. I'm not sure, could the team, can you see my launchpad?
Yes, I can see your launchpad.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Where's that gone? It goes on the other screen, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
On the Sunday, no, right, let me, where's it gone? Here it is, over here on the other screen. So let's deal with some of these. Are all of these reports available? I'll come back to the graphs in a minute, if I may, Gemma. Are all of these reports available on all KEYPrime package levels? So I've got advanced open there. I'm also going to open up intro, which is our bottom entry level, as I say, Cashbook Plus, as I sometimes call it, which the so Cashbook Plus sales invoicing there. So yeah, under management, I've still got my cash flow. So I've got my options here. I can go annual. If you've got previous year's data, you can go and wind the clock back. So I think this is Ruth asking the question, are all of these reports? So with intro, you just need to be slightly wary that because we are dealing with a cash book with sales invoices. So we've not got the fixed assets. So we're not going to have a balance sheet. We're not going to have a P&L because we're not holding the stocks, the depreciation. You can't do prepayments. But yes, you can do cash flow. Yes, you can do income and expenditure. Yes, at an enterprise level, you can go and choose your cattle enterprise. And I go progress for whatever date range. That's bound to be the wrong date. Let me just go to the rest of the 20. So all the options that you've got here in intro are available to those. So there's the report. Ignore the fact I haven't got data, but you've got exactly the same style reporting. So yes, Ruth, you have, as you move up, you will get more options. Was the progress report only available in advanced? If I go into our middle end package and go sign in, so this is what the majority of you will be using. Under management, you have got the projected option. So yes, just in our mid-level, our full account, so you can have your TB there and everything else. And on the cash flow report, here it is, show projected, is that option there? So we can go and click on it. It will then run this. So I think, Susanna, yeah, you've answered the question there. Thank you. So yeah, here is our report progress available to all with all anything. So intro, etc. Drill down on the report, drill down to the transaction. If that then needs changing to a different enterprise, you change it, you save it, you come out of here, refresh the report, and away you go. So yeah, you can go and edit stuff and change it whilst you're there. Sorry, I'm trying to read so progress note is not just in advance. We've dealt with that one. On the summary, you indicated that the import export was available with Key Advanced. Summary. Not quite sure. So
I wondered whether Sarah meant budgeting, importing budgets.
So
and she's come back as a yes.
Yes, budgets, importing and exporting budgets, James.
So if I go into KEYPrime Intro, our bottom one, management budget, you have got an Excel option, so it's available to all versions. You can have your budget, export one out, so you could be a blank template, could be last year's figures quickly and easily. You can then come in here, find it, import it back in. It literally only takes about 1 to 2 seconds, and then you've got it back in there.
Yeah, so if you are thinking of budgeting for the first time, maybe go into your software, whether it's KEYPrime or something else, and see if you can export a blank template, and then that will make it much easier to import back in rather than having to fiddle around with something in the wrong format afterwards.
I would definitely recommend export first. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I noticed you only had current liabilities. You didn't split down to show long-term liabilities. That's because I won't have it in intro, James, because you haven't got a balance sheet option. We have the balance sheet, and when you run it, I ran it by nominal, so I didn't get any grouping. If I had set up grouping as short-term and long-term, then I would have more options available to me, and potentially you could have what you might be after. If you're an advanced user, you actually have custom reporting and a custom balance sheet, so you can actually mix match and change that even more. Can you get the actuals then future budget months individually? So I think that's almost projected there, so that we've got the actuals for our date range. I'll just change that to 1 because the budget is on the 1st of the month. So here, can you get the actuals and then future budget months individually? So this is a projected via the monthly. Just take a couple of seconds to run the report because it's got to merge the actuals and the budget. So there is each of your month's actuals, and there is each of your month's projected figures coming through. Hopefully that answers that one.
And don't forget the graph question.
Oh, sure, super. So for those of you that know KEYPrime, about 8 months ago, we gave you a Smart View button up here. If you haven't got it, please phone support. It's a 2-second fix for them just to dial in and remove the file that's causing you the issue. It's because you've tried to customize this at some point. So when we add new buttons, they then won't appear.
Sometimes, though, sorry, James, to interrupt, it's because the top ribbon is actually permanently expanded.
Yeah.
So it can't refresh as well.
So a couple of reasons, and support can help you out with that. So when I go and do this report, Smart View up here, it's my cash flow, my actuals against budget there. I can go and look at my nominal, and there's my sales, and I can drill down there. There's my arable income. And if I'd got that maximized, you could see that it's barley, grass, what have you. And I can then export that out as a PDF or something other and give it to the consultant or the bank manager. Now, that is from the year start to the current month, and not always what you want. So under management and cash flow, there is, when you go to monthly, the Smart View button there. which will do it for the date range you've selected there and against whichever budget you've selected there. But in the release that we gave you just last autumn, there is now also the option on monthly to have a P&L of your so of your P&L. Again, we wouldn't have an overdraft limit. That's there. Yes, you can have it. You can do it by enterprise and drill down on each one, and away you go. Lastly, on that, under ledgers, you've also got a debtors and a creditors smart view. So if you want to be, trying to chase people or what have you, or put it in front of somebody who needs to, then that's fine.
Sorry, James, just to confirm, which build are those smart views on?
So super. So the profit and loss one is in build 9.5.17, the current version, and that's been available since November, December time, hasn't it, Helen? Lovely.
Yes, yeah.
So if you want an enterprise smart view, you've got to come into profit and loss or cash flow, but you can have it, not a problem. We've got another question. How is VAT treated in the cash flow and or the budgets? Well, if we're going to look at a cash flow report, it's down the bottom. What do I mean down the bottom? Oh, I've done that by nominal rather than group, so I'll have a long page report. But down at the bottom in your control accounts, there is the VAT. So some of you might have a liability nominal or a current asset for the VAT because you want to budget on the VAT, because for some estates and things like that where they're doing quarterly VAT, it's quite a big figure, and you want it down here. Well, when you do that, not a problem. Under management, if we go and look at one of the budgets, doesn't matter which one, and we edit it. And you can do this when you bring it in with your Excel import. There's the option over here to include the control accounts. So you put a tick in there and you will then get the control account. So you can choose one of the VAT and you can then budget against that, and it will appear in the same place as your actuals and your budget, so you can see the difference. So the report is on the report, it will have the VAT, so up above it is the net figures in your sales and purchases, etc. The VAT is just above the banks in the control accounts, but you can also budget against those as well. Have I missed any questions, Helen, Annabelle?
I don't believe so.
No.
Good.
Okay.
Have I got 2 minutes, Annabelle?
You've got up to 7 minutes before
Oh,
you join the prize.
Don't you? God, dear.
You can easily do that.
What I was just, so Smart View is a new functionality we've added to the program, but whilst we've got a couple of minutes, one of the new features that we've put in this version, it's actually been in 1 or 2 before, but this is full blown, is batch entry. So this enables you to create a new batch. You can part process, you can have other options, but I haven't got time for that. You can then edit your entries. So you highlight that and you click on edit entries. So you can say, I want to put a purchase invoice on for this person, for this, and I'm getting the warning triangles because it's saying this isn't valid yet. In order for me to save the purchase invoice, I need a date. I don't necessarily need a due date, but I need a nominal or whatever it is, and enterprise, and all of these are normal. So if you don't want these on your grids, you can get rid of them, put them in a different order. Description, I don't know what it was. It was a puncture and there was one of them for £25. And actually, do you know what? I want to put on, along with that, I'm going to go and do a sales invoice at the same time. So you can mix and match your transactions and put them all on here. Now, the advantage of that can be several fold. Some people like to work in that way. Some people want to export this list because it's not complete or there's missing bits, and give it to somebody else so that they put the missing bits on here. So it's just another way of working in order to get data entry onto, we don't like data entry per se, or keying it in, repeating ourselves month in, month out. There must be easier options for it. So the batch entry is there. As I say, it's got validation. It'll check if you've got a tick box on missing enterprise or quantity. So when you're in the nominals here and you've got your week nominal, have you got it checking for enterprise and quantity? You wouldn't necessarily want analysis code, but your vehicle repairs, you might want analysis and not enterprise or quantity. So that validation will come through here to the batch entry screen at the same time. We also have some other benefits. We do imports from other places. What do I mean by that? Well, under utilities and import purchases, we have the option to bring entries in from auto entry or other places like that. I won't go there just at the moment because I've only got about 3 minutes left. But you can bring it through and process that via batch entry. You can bring through buying group imports and process that through batch entry, because you might not have all the information there. And the annoying bit comes is says, I can't import this, but it doesn't always tell you why. So if you do use those sorts of imports, or you want this, auto entry and receipt bank are part of the standard package, there's no extra cost. You can import those transactions via the batch entry and then go and key in those missing nominals that somebody hasn't set up auto entry fully or whatever it might be. So that's the batch entry under entries and batch entry, and we've got it. I probably haven't got time to show that. The other option that is available as an extra here is the fact that under batch entry, and if I edit this batch, it's got store the grid layout. Why is that important? Well, it stored the columns that I wanted going across here. So you can see I got rid of things like item and that earlier. So it's kept that. Now, this is an extra module, but actually you can copy and paste from an Excel file straight onto this grid, validate it, or if you process it, it will go and validate it anyway, tell you what's wrong, or actually it's a copy and paste from Excel straight onto this grid. The grid's in the right layout, process, that's just then committed all those as transactions on the system.
And if you're using transaction import already, which some of you might be, it's included within that. So
thank you, Annabelle. Yeah, super.
Sorry, Bethany.
And you've had a question as well, James.
Do you have the facility to attach a scan or electronic copy of an invoice to a specific entry?
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Well, what you're after is, let's go to our daybook, shall we, and our purchase invoice screen. And I've got so much open, guys. Let me just shoot that down. So on here, we go and open that. Oh, yeah, I won't do that one then. So let's go and have it in date. So that one there. When we're in the transaction, we have a documents button. But where's that gone? Where's it? Oh, that wasn't what I wanted. Got so much open. Here we go. So you can go and drag and drop a document onto there at any point in time. There's the document. I want to go and open it, and it's opened it up for me there and then. So yes, you can. You can go and see it's got a little plus there now, which is fine. You can drag multiple documents on there. You can go and add emails on there, all that sort of thing. But actually I can do it, I don't have to do it at an individual level. There's the royal warrant or what have you. I can add that on there. And you can see on your daybook what documents are attached to which transactions. And if I go off to Mr. Smith there, I also have the ability to drag and drop those documents and emails onto an individual supplier. But here on the Documents tab, you can see coming through from those transactions, the individual documents that I've put on each one or that I've put onto the supplier.
If you would like a drag and drop document, Carolyn, as a PDF, I can send you one, and anybody else that wants that information, just drop it in the chat and I can get that to you at the end.
Okay, we've got a question. Does your import to batch entry from Excel have to have all the same headings? No, because you don't bother with the headings. You list your, sorry, let me go to edit entries. That highlight the one, James, it help. You set your columns up the same as they are in Excel, and you just copy and paste. You ignore the headers in Excel. You just bring through the detail. So you don't have to have the same. If they're called something completely different, like account code in Excel, just line it up for the nominal, and then when you copy and paste, it will do it. And we've still got, you can still go and drag and drop your lines down and copy them. You've still got the option of right clicking on here and go apply to all, so it will copy it down through all the columns, all of those useful quick shortcuts. I've run 2 minutes over. Oh dear, Annabelle.
I know.
Getting a few drag and drop PDFs requests coming through, Helen, which is really good. So yeah, the ability to have these documents on here, not suggesting you might want to do every single one, but you're likely to want to do those HP agreements, fixed assets, the insurance claims, those sorts of documents put on here, so that when it comes to it, you can go and view them, print them off, email them, or what have you to the accountant at the year end.
I wonder whether it would be worth showing, it might not be for now, it might be for another time, the client support. You know, we have got drag and drop documents on there. I don't know how many of you use the online client support that we've got. We've got lots of FAQs and the PDFs that Helen's referring to. It's all on there, but we might not have time. Let's have a look.
Videos too.
Yeah.
I have anyway. Yep, lovely. Okay, does the document get sent if the backup is sent via USB? No, not currently. That's because we have no control over the size. So somebody's got an insurance claim because the Land Rover has got written off, and they go out with their camera, and every time they go click, it's 100 megabytes. We've got no control over that. You can, and we can tell you how to back up the location of where the documents are, and that can then go off to your accountant. It is something that we're looking at because people are using it much more, as to how we could improve that. For those of you that are just on still, just be aware when I go and take this and I put it on here, and it doesn't always work. So some of you on servers or what have you, you can see I've got a little arrow at the bottom, and that means I'm taking a copy. So I'm leaving the existing one there. And this is again why we can't back things up and do it and send it. But if I hold my control key down, you'll see at the end of my mouse, it changed to a plus, and that will actually take a copy. And if you're on a network, you will need to be pointing at the same place. But for the rest of you, it'll take a copy, and we can copy that folder and help you and get that to the accountant. So yes, they would be able to view it, but you would need to do a separate backup of that folder for the accountant to restore it at their end.
Okay. Do we have any more questions, or are people ready for the prize draw or the results of the quiz? I don't know how many of you joined the quiz.
Have you got the drum roll organised, Annabelle?
No, it would have to be an Annabelle made sound effect. Yeah. Yeah, shall we crack on with the prize draw, or has anyone, if anyone's got any more questions, then ask them now. Will this be available again to watch? We have recorded it, so I'm sure we could speak with Jill about distributing that. So yeah. Good.
I think
okay then.
Over to you, Annabelle, for the prize draw. Everybody's watching to see if their name's being pulled out the hat. I know I put 10 of mine in the hat, so I've got the
Brilliant. Right, shall I share my screen? So I thought what we'll do quickly. Now, I think I may have made this quiz a bit too long for some of you this year. I apologise for putting so many questions in it. I got carried away, but I thought I'd go through the answers. So if I share my screen, and is that the right one? You'd think I'd be better at this by now, but I'm not. There we go.
Yeah.
I know that takes you to, gosh, I've got so many things open. Slideshow. I've got that over there. Well, there you go. From beginning. Right, so I thought we'd just whiz through the answers, and then we'll use the wheel of names just to announce who the winner is. So there we go. Oh, let's get rid of that. Okay, so question 1. How many 750 milliliter bottles of wine can fill a Balthazar? I don't think I've ever seen one of these in person, but the correct answer, I think the options were 16 glasses, 14 glasses, and 12 glasses, I think. The correct answer is 16 glasses. And I actually think everyone, bar one, got that one correct. So well done, you know your wine. I think that works out as 80 standard glasses from one bottle, so nice. Question 2 was, which vegetables are most commonly farmed in Lincolnshire? The answer to that was your potatoes, your cauliflower, and your cabbages. Although, actually, I was quite interested to see, although I should have known this, it's not a vegetable, but one of the most grown things in Lincolnshire is actually sugar beet. So, yeah. Question 3, a technical question. So which method calculates depreciation more at the start of the asset's life than towards the end? And the correct answer there was, of course, reducing balance. I do think everybody got that right. Which country, this one tripped a few of you up actually, which country has the most vineyards? So the options are Italy, France, and Spain. It's not Italy. And it's not actually France. Spain has the most vineyards. So I think there's 11,200 kilometers of vineyards in Spain. And I think in France it was 8,800. There's quite a big difference actually. What is the wingspan of a pheasant? The correct answer to that was 22.1 inches to 33.9 inches. In what year was the most recent IAgSA Farm Office handbook first published? So that's a lovely picture of my copy. And well, I got that from Jenny Pine in 2017. So there we go. Which figure goes in box 7 on the VAT return? So there's a screenshot from our software again. Total value of purchases and all other inputs, excluding any VAT. Question 8, what does LERAP stand for? The two options here were local environmental risk assessment for pesticides, which is the correct answer. The other option was very similar, local essential risk assessment. So again, I think most of you got that correct. Bit of a fun one. Who said if you can make a girl laugh, you can make her do anything? Of course, the correct answer was Marilyn Monroe. And then at the end, well done if you made it this far, another technical one. Variable costs are, so either expenses that, although incurred in a business's day-to-day operations, cannot be directly assigned to a specific enterprise, or variable costs are expenses that a farming business incurs that change in proportion to the activity of a business. And the correct answer to that was expenses that a farming business incurs that change in proportion. So there we go. So they're the answers. A few of the questions, nearly everyone got right, but a few of the questions really did trip you up. I'm very sorry about that. But we will now go to the wheel of names. So, oh, we've got someone just waiting to join. Oh, they've been there. So we'll just go to the wheel of names now, which, let's see if I can get to that. Come out of there, I need to go over here. So you'll see that actually, all the entries, only 4 people got every single answer correct. And it was the wine one, as I say, was a big tripper-upper, and so were the vegetables in Lincolnshire. But without further ado, let's click on the wheel and see where it lands. Oh. So I think the winner of £180 worth of wine is Carolyn Peach. Well done.
Well done, Carolyn.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I will pop you an email later, Carolyn, just to confirm your address and whatnot, and then we will organise to get that sent to you. So yeah, well done. Yeah, and I suppose probably all that's left to do is to say, thank you for everyone for joining our webinar. I know there have been a lot of webinars this week, and ours was the last one. So yeah, thank you. And thank you for participating in the competition. We hope it was a bit of fun. Everything's virtual at the moment, so it's nice to do something a little bit different. And also thank you to everyone at IAgSA for organising this webinar week as well. I know it would have been nice to be able to see you all face to face, but we are where we are, and hopefully this time next year we will all be meeting up in a big lovely venue somewhere and enjoying a glass of wine together. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Annabelle. Thank you.
Oh, and just to add actually one more thing before we all go, I will be sending you all a little feedback form at the end as well. So if you could just let us know, was the webinar okay? Could you hear us, etc., etc. That will be very helpful because we want to make sure we're delivering good webinars. So thank you. You'll be getting that as well. How do I stop sharing my screen? Stop share.
I don't know.
There we go. Done it. Lovely. Thank you very much, everybody. Oh, I suppose if anyone wants to stay on for a chat, they can always unmute themselves. I'm not going anywhere yet.
I think I might have to because I've got to go and sort out beta stuff.
You have a life?
No, I got to go and do the beta stuff now.
Oh, right. The next release.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you, Helen.
Oh, that's okay. No worries. Take care. I'll see you all soon.
Okay, cool.
Bye.
Are you still there, Melissa? I think she had to tootle off part way through, and I think she may have just not closed it yet. Never mind.